Hi, I'm Kevin Richardson, host of Second Stories. Second Stories is a place where I interview others that's reinvented themselves, such as myself. I'm here to interview and honored on my first discussion with Mr. James Motley. Mr. Motley is an author, a public speaker, a youth coach, amongst many things.
Yes.
Welcome to my show, my brother.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to be here, Kev.
Pleasure's mine. Yes, sir.
Really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to this.
All right, let's go. Okay.
Yeah. When I first heard that I was meeting you, it was really an honor. It was really an honor just to sit down and talk to you and, you know, during your life experiences. So I was really honored. I was anticipating this interview and how great it was going to be.
The feeling is mutual, you know, because it's interesting because I see myself through you. You know, it's like we're a mirror of each other. You know,
Yes.
so I'm always looking forward to interviewing others, and I'm also a sponge of knowledge. You know, so when I see the things that you accomplish, it's the same things I want to accomplish in my life.
Yes.
You know, so I actually look up to you, my brother.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm honored to meet you as well.
Thank you.
You
Thank
know.
you. Thank you.
To tell me about your journey from your humble beginnings to where you are now.
Well, my beginnings wasn't really humble, but but it was a struggle from where I came from. Most people know I was incarcerated from 17 to 25 years old, being a young man that was vulnerable, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and was very vulnerable to negativity in my neighborhood, my environment. And so I ran into bad troubles and things that happened in my life that really end up helping me in my profession today and making me successful. Being incarcerated, of course, for 8 years, majority of my life, I learned a lot. I learned a lot during that process. That encouraged me to this day. So basically, turning my pain into purpose.
Yeah.
You know, learning how to turn my pain into purpose and finding solutions to problems is what made me successful today. So instead of really stressing my problems, I began to push to a solution.
That's so true, because I feel, and I often say that you have to embrace your past, you know, and your past is helping you reshape your future. So
Yes.
we touch on these things that we've been through as teens, you know, but it's not just about that, it's about what we're doing now.
Yes.
And we learn from that. What were some of the things that throughout your journey that you learned from incarceration, but until now, and it's helping you reshape your future?
Well, from incarceration, I learned who I really was during that time and who I wasn't. That was a process for me to know who I was and understand who I was in order for me to prepare to society. So I have a thing called, in my book, it's called the 5 Ps, preparation prevents poor performance. And I started preparing that process while I was incarcerated. It helped me while I was in society to create goals and visions of where I see myself with understanding who I was. So going through that process helped me seek employment, go back to college, seek entrepreneurship, and then also give back for the same individual that went through the same things that I did. And so what I did was I have a thing called Make Your Transition Your Brand. And what I do is I help people empower them through their struggles. And so everything I've been through, I found a solution for all the problems and obstacles I've been through. I help people shape that as well with goal setting and vision setting. So
It's a perfect segue about a book, because I was going to ask you that you wrote a book.
yes.
And you just explained about it. And that's something that I want to dive into. So I want to ask you a question that, how fulfilling was it to get through that process of writing a book?
Woo! It was a process to get through the book. It was a process, but I ended up doing it because it was a part of me. And the book is called Push Your Potential. And it's basically dealing with the theory of Abraham Maslow and reaching your full potential. He delves into the hierarchy of needs and you reaching your full potential through levels. And most of us get to a place where we don't understand what our purpose is. We don't know what we're meant to do in this earth. So 25% of individuals know what their clear purpose is in America. So I created this book to give instruction and direction for the young adult and the young person that's sitting there that don't know what they want to do with their life. And that's when we are most vulnerable. We are most vulnerable when we don't know what to do, and negativity tends to creep in to our mindset. We're attracted to negativity. So what I did was I created these tools to give that young person and let them understand that, hey, you know, you're not different. You're not crazy because you don't know what you want to do just yet. But these are some of the things and principles you want to utilize in order to get to reaching your full potential. And so I use that as another segue for also people that I'm encountering that I counsel, people that is at their job. Or if you look at an NBA player, their career is cut at like 35 years old, most of them, right? And they don't know what they want to do afterwards because they're doing what they love to do instead of what they're born to do. And so Magic Johnson is a good example of that, right? We know Magic Johnson to be a person that played basketball. He loved basketball, but then his second life is entrepreneurship, giving back to people that's unemployed, minorities, right? So his purpose became different, and you can see he loves that more than he loves the basketball. We know him for entrepreneurship. He's no more for entrepreneurship than basketball. So this is a segue to give that young person and that person that struggled in transition, in the crossroads of their life, a direction that they can move towards.
That's a perfect example about Magic Johnson, because when I was a young kid, people asked me who I look up to. And I said Magic Johnson.
We were the same page.
But, you know, of course, it was about the basketball,
Yes.
but it was about what he did as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
When you have your book, it also leads to what you're doing as a coach. And I understand that you're a youth coach as well and a mentor.
Yes.
Explain about that a little bit.
So from the book, I created a youth program called Push Your Potential Peer Education Group, where it educates the young adults also that's struggling in their life. Young adults as far as college, high school, after high school, college graduates that's still struggling with what they wanted to do. So I created a platform for them and gave them skills so they could give back and find out who they want to be and what things they want to accomplish. So this happens through goal setting, also strategic planning, and a plan of action, right? And also getting them to understand the importance of self-awareness, learning their strengths and their weaknesses. And so that is a process that we're building a foundation up. So many times we want to do certain things, but our foundations and our tools is not strong enough, and we will miss out on opportunities if those fundamentals are not there. So teaching them discipline, teaching them consistency, teaching them the proper of preparation, understanding the importance of procrastination and how procrastination stagnates growth, getting them in touch with their feelings and emotions and giving it direction so it can push them to the next level.
That's so important, because not just kids, adults need that, right? But we have to get the kids and get them at that certain age we can help them grow and, you know, grow into the person that they are today.
Yes.
And we still need that, you know. I remember growing up when we had these in New York City, these organizations and centers where we had things for kids such as computer classes and things of that nature. And that stuff is missing. So it's refreshing to know that someone such as yourself have that going on, because like I said, kids become idle and then things happen.
Yeah.
You know, because they have no safe place to go.
Yes.
You know, so it's very important to have that.
So we create the environment, right? So 80% of what your child is going to do is based on the environment and their surroundings. 20% is what they learn in the household. So sometimes parents are, you know, they have this struggle with themselves, like, oh, my kid is not listening. We get inspired by our peers and who we're around in our environment. The environment plays a huge part of who you're surrounding yourself with. So if we could direct them to understand who they're attracting and what they want to attract, then they could make better decisions, right? So if they're negative, a lot of times if their mindset is thinking negative, they're going to attract negativity because their mind's in a negative situation. So you want to teach them how to create positive reinforcements, how to create journals for themselves. Those things inspire their mindset and their subconscious mind to attract exactly what they want. And so the mind has to be readjusted. If you look at it, when I use the example of junk food, you know, we hate the healthy food. We love junk food, right? Because it pertains to our weakness, right? And we know it's not good for us, but we still love it, right? And so we have to retransform our mind and readjust it and give it a proper direction. That way we can achieve what we want to. If we don't give it proper direction, then it's going to be haywire, which is, that's where you get the fear, you get the doubt, you get the anxiety, because your mind is everywhere. Most of our children, we understand, they don't even sleep nowadays. because their mind, the pressures of social media, the pressures of their peers, tend to interrupt that thought process. So they have all this pressure in their mind, and so everywhere they can't sleep. They don't have no peace, right? So teaching them that and to become aware, which is the key, which is the opposite of ignorance, gives them a direction now to start working the process. Because just because you become aware doesn't mean you're going to start changing. Right? Now you have to work the process, and this is where we come in at, to create that environment and that space for them to get that understanding and that learning process, to encourage them through the process.
Yeah, so you're there to like put interference in a positive way.
Yes.
To start the process of that, because you know, the first thing you got to do is feed the person's mind, right?
Yes.
And then the mind will carry over to your body, and that's when they say feed your mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
And that's what we have to keep practicing with people and let it become a regular thing. You know?
So when you go out, what did you mostly see when you go out and you're speaking to young adults or you're speaking to people about your story? What things do you see out there?
One thing I noticed that I am a person that's very relatable. You know, so the youth relate to me. It could be because I think I'm still cool. I think I'm still young, but and I have a young daughters as well. But you have to be trust. And when they have that trust in you, and then they'll start to listen and you'll see them open up more.
Yes.
Because now the kids right now, sometimes they don't know who to trust, and they don't know who to have that safe place with. So I notice that when I speak to people and the eye contact, and you see people listening, and when I talk to these organizations and schools, and I know I got them. Because sometimes, you know, it's hard to keep a kid listening to you. But when you got the undivided attention, you know you did something. So that's one thing I noticed was like eye contact.
Wow.
Once re-entering society, you know, I know there was tough times from personal experience. And how did it going through that process, also getting a second chance? And that's why I launched this, to have second story, you know, because sometimes we don't get that opportunity, you know. So how did that feel, and how refreshing it felt that dealing with those trials and tribulations, you was able to overcome that, because we are overcomers.
Yes, we are. Yes. It's a good question. Because that's why I created the book, because I had to backtrack to that kid. Because sometimes you do things automatically, and you don't know what actually you're practicing in order for you to help somebody else, right? Because it's already in us. But it was very hard. This is where I came up with the importance of peer pressure. Because when we think of peer pressure, sometimes we think of peer pressure when we are younger or when we kids, but we don't understand that peer pressure is for the rest of our life. You know, we want to be at a certain place at a certain time. The difficulties of living with my mother, right? But I want a girlfriend. I'm a man now, and you have to tell a woman, hey, you know, realistically, like, who you live with? I live with my mom. You know, sometimes, you know, it was embarrassing, you know, to tell them. And then you might have to go into a story. So those things was very difficult, because it makes you sometimes make decisions that you normally wouldn't, right? And so there's certain things that I didn't encounter when I was incarcerated, like Metro cards every day, right? Food every day. Like we was getting all these things that was kind of handed to us. And so now it's like, oh, every day counts. Even to go for that job interview that you want to go to, it costs, right? To get back and forth to a job, and then now you got to budget your fare. Then you got to budget clothes. Then I came home in the summertime. I got to get ready for the winter. Clothes is different, right? Yes. And you know, most of us don't come from rich families, right? And so most of us got going back to a society where we don't want to be a burden on our parents or our family members, because we are go-getters and we are overcomers. But one of the things that stood out to me was my mother, which is my why, right? I had my mother and my father. I didn't want to disappoint my mom, because I know I embarrassed my mother. So at 17 years old, I know it was an embarrassment for my mother to tell people that her son was incarcerated. My mother didn't brought me up that way. She brought me up the right way, church-fearing man, God-fearing man, and brought me up right. So I know it was embarrassment. So I had to find that fortitude to not go into the negative way, which is my why. My why is what keeps me disciplined, takes me out of myself and think about others. My why is my foundation. my family. Now it's my kids. It always changes. As you see, I came in here with a jacket with my father on the back.
Yes.
So now keeping his name to the legacy is my why. So I'm always looking to improve my why every year because I know I'm going to go through adversity. And so people that's going in their life that's going through their second story, they have to have a strong why. A strong why to give them direction. A strong why that's going to make you get up in the morning. A strong why that's going to make you pursue your goals. A strong why that's going to make you delve into your purpose. That's going to make you uncomfortable. That's going to keep you disciplined in the right way. So, coming home was difficult, but I look at it as a way that I overcame. And I'm able to show on both sides, the individuals that's in the classroom that don't know what they want to do, and also individuals that's in the transition in their life, that they have a second story and they can make it happen.
I like the meaning of why, because it's why you do what you do now, right? And just like yourself, my mom, she's my why, and my kids are my why.
Yes.
And I understand that you're a girl dad, such as myself.
Yeah, 2 girls.
I have 2 girls as well.
Oh my God.
So they are my why, and they are the reason that I do what I do. And it's not only a job, it's a passion.
Yes.
To change the system, which we still have long ways to go.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you can give advice to people about their why and to give them direction or motivation to keep doing what they're doing?
I always tell people one thing is to be patient.
Patience.
If your gift, you don't want to overnight gift. You don't want to overnight anything. You want to marinate on who you are. You want to be self motivated or self-inspired to know who you are, right? So I think patient, and another one is being aware, right? And I always tell people, they always say, Jane, what do you do to be motivated? I say, I'm aware of my strengths and weaknesses, right? But I'm also a person that has to speak against the things that's telling me I can't, right? And so that's the fear, right? We all going to be fearful of anything that we do.
And that's beautiful, because like you have that fear in you, right?
Yes.
But that fear is natural. But you have that passion that you have to overcome that.
Yes.
And get through it, So like I tell my daughter, she's fearful of something, but have faith, and your faith will override everything.
It's your confidence. I love that you said passion. Everybody knows I always got something with passion. But because passion opens up doors, because passion you can't teach, and it's attractive. Many doors that I thought couldn't open for me, it came through because of my passion. I'm not the best speaker. I don't talk the most intelligent. I'm not supposed to be certain place, but my heart got me there. And sometimes I question, like, why am I here? Like, everybody, it's so many people that should be in the situation I'm in, have the success. Like, why? It's my heart. If your heart is conditioned, then the doors will open up. That's the faith. If your heart is not conditioned, then you're not going to get it because you're going to mess it up.
Speaking about passion,
Yes.
which we dwell on often, I understand that you have a speaking panel within the community. Can you elaborate about that?
Yeah, so I encountered different authors during my my touring of the book that has certain stories that's very passionate individuals, and so we want to have basically a circle of authors where they share their story to a group of people and basically give their testimony of how they overcome their obstacle in that book that they wrote. And it's basically, it's going to be kid orientated. It's going to be young adult orientated, where youth going to be involved, and people's going to be sharing their story of, how they overcame their obstacle in their transition, which is the transition is their brand. So after they became, successful, but how did they get there? Just the same as your story too, but it's just saying the transition is their brand. What was that transition and what does it look like? And they'll read it off, and they'll read their book off, and they'll share their story. And hopefully you will be there to share your story.
I would love to. The weather's getting warm.
Woo! Yes, it is, Kev. We know it.
Summertime in New York City.
Yes.
Things happen quite often. And relating to when I said an idle mind is the devil's backyard.
Yes, it is.
Things can happen. I know from my experience, being young, being outside, things can happen to you. So what advice we can give to parents to make sure their kids are in a safe space, because things happen so fast in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
And one thing I like to do in my household is unmute the uncomfortable. And I always say that to people, unmute the uncomfortable. Talk about it and get that out, And I do that with my child, which is about to be a junior in high school. And I speak to her about eye contact and ask her what's going on with you, and make her uncomfortable, because we have to unmute that. So what advice can we give to parents about things happening in New York City in the summer? Because we know kids attract certain situations, negativity. And negativity is easy to follow.
Yes.
But we must do things for people to follow in a positive way.
Yes.
So what tips do you have for parents?
One of the tips that I have for parents, and I always talk about it, you talked about the idle mind, which is really great. What is their routine? What is your child routine from the time they get up to the time they go to sleep? So helping them develop a routine. I need to see your routine. And if you're not responsible enough to create a routine, I'm going to create one for you.
Yes.
So at a certain hour, a certain time, I need these routines to be done, because we still have to be productive. Just because it's summertime don't mean you relax. It's actually to replenish, to get prepared for the next season. You're preparing for what's next. You're not lackadaisical. You're not on vacation. Listen, you're not on vacation. We go on vacation, you'll know, because we'll change the whole environment. We're in a different country. We're in a different state. We somewhere else. That's vacation. No, you're replenishing right now, because you're getting ready for the next season. That teaches them subconsciously that when they got time off, that they are preparing for what's next. You're preparing for the next grade. You're preparing for the next era. You're preparing for the next obstacle. You're preparing for the next adversity, because the old you can't take the new you with you. You're preparing for the new, and it gets them in order to understand change. It's summer, now we're going into fall. But what are we doing during the summer? We grow.
We grow.
The summertime is a season for growing, nurturing. So you have to nurture your mind. You have to replenish your mind. We're not going to stress you every day, but what is your routine? What books are you reading? Are you studying? Not the stuff from the school, but self-education is the key.
I recently launched the Kevin Richardson Foundation.
Wow.
And that is to lend out to others, right? To help others from my experience and give back, to plant that seed and have others gain from what I experienced. And growing up, it was a thing we said was each one teach one.
Yes.
Right? And that's something that we always learned from New York City.
Yes.
That what you learn, pass it on to the others.
Yes.
Now, because of my second chance and second story, I'm able to do that. So I'm so enthused about finally having this spotlight to launch my foundation.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And from that foundation, there's 3 pillars that I always abide by.
Okay.
And it's called CPR.
CPR.
Which is courage, perseverance, and resilience. And you think about it, CPR is bringing life.
Yes.
And that's what I'm trying to do, bring life back into the community.
Beautiful.
Once where CPR was taken away from me when I was a kid, as a teenager, I'm able now, because of my second chance, to breathe that back into the community.
Beautiful.
So that's something I'm really passionate about.
Wow.
Speaking about passion.
Just touch me with that.
Yeah, I have to, mic drop on that, right? But, it's something that I, established and created, because you think about it, and it stands out, CPR, because growing up and everything I've been through, I had to have the courage to get through what I've been through.
Yes.
And then from that, you have to have the perseverance, right? And you have to be resilient for everything that we've been through. So you pass those 3 things and combine them.
Wow.
And that's CPR.
That's beautiful.
And that's going to be my model to individuals, to the youth, to adults, for people to abide by. And I think if we grab that, then maybe we'll start to going in the right direction. But we have to plant that seed first.
Yes.
And planting that seed is CPR.
That's
bringing life back into others.
Man, that's beautiful.
That need it. You
That's
know,
beautiful,
and that's
Kat.
something that's we need to take care of. So I'm very passionate about it. Thank you so much for helping me launch this series. I'm looking forward to interviewing more people and having people in this space and
Yes.
showcasing
Great
people that have second stories.
Yes.
Because we need to be heard, and people need to be heard and have a chance to showcase what they've been through.
Yeah.
And I want you to unmute the uncomfortable and share your second story. Thank you.